Have you ever used orphans to study an experimental vaccine?
Yes.
Have you ever used the mentally handicapped to study an experimental vaccine? 13 seronegative, mentally retarded children were given RH273 vaccine.
Okay, well, that's in that case, that's what I did.
Have you ever used babies of mothers in prison to study an experimental vaccine?
Yes.
Have you ever used individuals under colonial rule to study an experimental vaccine?
Yes.
Did you do so in the Belgian Congo?
Yes.
Did that experiment involve almost 1 million people?
Well, all right, yes.
Even Dr. Birx admits this.
We've taken a very liberal approach to mortality, and I think the reporting that if someone dies with COVID-19, we are counting that as a COVID-19 death.
Next to the cardiac arrest, some not breathing, and they have already administered Narcan. They are currently doing CPR.
Deadly.
Unless you are there when it happens, there is no saving them.
Deceiving.
So this is, a 16-year-old kid taking one pill that should just be a hydrocodone 500 milligram, right? And should be going about their day. They're dying.
Public health estimates fentanyl-related deaths rose from 31% of all overdoses in 2016 to 87% in 2021.
Especially with fake prescription drugs, we're seeing that young folks are buying these pills that they think are something like Xanax or Adderall or Percocet, but really it's fentanyl that's been pressed into pill forms.
The CDC says fentanyl is 50 times stronger than heroin and up to 100 times stronger than morphine, but much cheaper, easier to manufacture, making it easier to purchase on a budget. Families Against Fentanyl, a national organization, says fentanyl-related deaths are now the leading cause of death among Americans ages 18 to 43. It is claiming 64,000 American lives a year, or 175 per day. The DEA says in 2021 there were more fentanyl-related deaths than gun and auto-related deaths combined.
The administration says Mexican cartels source raw, dangerous chemicals from China, then use those chemicals to cheaply produce the deadly fentanyl. The DEA says once fentanyl is trafficked into the U.S., it's then mixed, like Justin mentioned, into almost every illicit drug. It's then sold to unsuspecting buyers.
I'd be surprised if any liberals even watch the whole thing. They usually turn that stuff off. Kind of like the 2,000 Mules. They don't want to see something that's going to might change their hate. But if you did, thank you, because it's near and dear to my heart. But if you're so concerned about guns being banned to save kids, you aren't paying attention, because if you know anything, there's no way whatsoever that kid bought all those guns legally, or paid for them legally, or bought a $70,000 pickup. And I would like to teach this to them, blue in the face. Maybe one of you will grow up. We have to be able to be open to discussing things amongst each other and not just assume we're all doing it for political reasons. It's not about political reasons. And that goes for trafficking too. It's real, folks. It's not a political thing. It's not a reason to argue with you guys. What would we want to argue about that for? If you guys would just open your mind, just looking, just paying attention, watching a few things, and then you can still not believe it. But you have to at least acknowledge it and then make a decision. Don't just say it's not real without looking. I don't know. If you're really that worried about the kids, then prove it.
You absolutely, you bet anybody any amount of money to prove you wrong that tens of thousands of National Guard troops were offered, but they were turned down. Cash, why do you think in your heart of hearts, because you've got the paper trail, you've got the memos that prove it. Why do you think the media thinks they can get away with lying and saying that Trump is lying about this?
For the same reason they thought they could get away with lying about Russiagate. For the same reason they thought they could get away with lying about Ukraine impeachment fiasco or, information regarding Afghanistan. They come up with one political narrative after the next, as long as it takes out Donald Trump, and they do it when they know it's information they need to fabricate. January 6th is no different. They did not have the actual facts to support their narrative on January 6th. So what do they do, Joe? They lie about it. They make it up and say, well, the mainstream media is going to cover this anyway. So it doesn't really matter that Donald Trump 2 days before, with me in the Oval Office as Chief of Staff of the Department of Defense, got the requisite authorization from the Commander-in-Chief, which the law requires. Then we went to Nancy Pelosi and we went to Mayor Bowser because the law requires them to ask for the National Guard before I could deploy my troops in country. That's the law, period. And they both said no. Mayor Bowser put it in writing that they said no. The Capitol Police has testified that they said no 48 hours before. Had they taken us up on President Trump's offer of 10,000 troops, nobody would have gotten anywhere near the Capitol.
Of course not. And the thing, Cash, is that, Twitter, before Elon Musk got involved, would actually make a trend every day. There is no proof that Trump offered a National Guard troops to the Capitol Police. Why did they get away with it? And I know that you're saying that they're all colluding and they're all on the same side, and I agree with you. But at some point, if you've got the memo, Kash Patel, the guy that worked at the DOD, has the memo saying the president authorized this, and these entities that run it and could have accepted this offer turned it down. How do they, with a straight face, is it because they know that a percentage will believe them, even though know you've got the proof to dispel it?
Yeah, and it's not just I have the proof. I gave it to the January 6th committee.
So they have it.
I told them. I said, here's the Department of Defense memo signed off on by the Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of Defense, myself, the Secretary of the Army, and a whole slew of other people. What do you think? We're all lying about this? There was 5 people in the Oval Office that day that heard what the president said and took his order as authorization for National Guards men and women. So the January 6th committee didn't want it. That's a continuation of their political narrative. They spent more time talking to me about Afghanistan, Somalia, and conversations I had with President Trump about pasta than they did about the January 6th events. And I've been demanding my transcript be released over and over and over again so America can see how much money is going into this political charade that they're running on Capitol Hill.
And by the way, I noticed that you're not locked up, so you didn't fabricate these memos. They have to be real. You know what I mean? You'd be in big trouble if you made this thing up. So obviously it's true.
Sitting up on Summit, and one marked state trooper vehicle, 2 black SUVs, there's 3 state trooper vehicles escorted 4 Antifa shuttle buses right here front and center. There was actually 5 vehicles total. There was 3 up front, 2 in the back. They escorted right here, waited for them to get off their buses, and they had the state troopers unloaded and took their positions. Watch. There's that guy. He had his lights on. They were coming, and then there's the ones up front too. They escorted, and each one of those buses are labeled. They're all paid charter buses.
Look at that, bro.
Check this out. Watch. Here's the black SUVs up front, and wait till you see who leads it.
Wow. They freaking brought damn Antifa here.
They escorted them here.
You've got to be
lights flashing and all.
You've got to be effing kidding me.
Lights flashing.
Patriots, are you guys watching this? You guys share this video, please. You've got to be kidding me. On video.
I watched him do it.
Hell no, bro.
Shut the fuck up, Boomer. To the Capitol. Base Fed busing?
There ain't a fool out there that's gonna tell me that's Trump people. Y'all are fools. That's a bunch of hooligans, man. And that's Mr. Epps himself, #1 man on the FBI wanted list. And y'all just keep denying it. They straight threw fucking innocent people in fucking jail.
We have someone that the internet has kind of identified as scaffold commander, giving persistent instruction to the crowd that had gathered. Play the next clip. And the next also.
Wow. And you're telling me that government can't find this information?
Well, there's a bunch of Trump people running in there.
We need to go in. Shut the fuck up, Boomer. To the Capitol. Base Fed posting? We need to go into the Capitol. I didn't see that coming. Okay.
Monument Hill.
The president is done speaking. We are going to the Capitol, where our problems are. It's that direction. He spread the word. All right, no, Dave, but one more thing. Yeah, so can we go up there? No. When we go in, are we going to get arrested if we go up there? You don't need to get shot. Arrest us all?
There ain't a fool out there that's gonna tell me that's Trump people. Y'all are fools. That's a bunch of hooligans, man. And that's Mr. Epps himself, #1 man on the FBI wanted list. And y'all just keep denying it. They straight threw fucking innocent people in fucking jail.
Joe, and your relationship with Joe, and what do I need to know? Like, what's the thing about the ice cream? He loves ice cream. Tell me about that.
Ice cream is big. Pasta with red sauce. He can go deep on that.